Hey everybody, back at it again, and let's take a look at what the next section we're going to do is going to look like.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Alright, so up here is where we're going next. And I cleaned all the junk out of the bed. I kind of was using this bed for storage, kept throwing more and more stuff back here, and it's like, okay, I got to quit doing that. So I'm going to try to I want to get at least half of this done. So quite a few weld joints all the way down here, and I've got this piece that I welded in. You know, when you shorten this, it spread it out, so I had to put a filler piece in there, and I had to put a filler piece in here. The old handle there, that's got to go. We got to fill that in. But I've got a big gap up here that this is kind of, you know, this was a door, so you had a big gap up here, and you had the door gasket behind there. So I need to figure out what to fill that with. I was thinking, well, I could just take urethane windshield sealant and fill that gap from the inside, but I don't want to do that. So I think we're going to try to come up with I need to get all that paint off under there, and maybe, I don't know, piece of round rod, or just bend a piece of metal over and get it back in there and weld it top and bottom. A couple different ways we can do it. So, but anyway, first thing we need to do, I need to wipe all this off, and I want to tape these windows up. I don't want to put a bunch of burn marks on these windows because they're going to stay. So let me do that. Let me get all, I'm probably not going to do this whole thing on this video. I would like to get to this joint. You know, get this joint done and get all of that done. And so let me go ahead and let me get all this paint cleaned off. Let me get these windows taped up, and we'll figure out where we're going to go from there. And while I'm tacking that, I'm also just going to be going along and randomly tacking the roof. This would be really easy to warp. So I just want to be really careful, not overheat it. You know, just as I'm tacking here, maybe do a row, let that cool for a while, go back around, do another row. So that's the plan. All right, let's get a little bit done here, and we'll come back and take a look at what we got. All right, so I started knocking the paint off of this, and I thought, you know, let's just go ahead and knock this whole back out in one shot. I'm gonna be right there, and I can do the roof while I'm doing that. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I got the windows taped off. Now, somebody on the last video came up with a really good suggestion. They said if you had some pop-out windows, you know, the hinged windows on the back of these, you could help flush the heat out of the cabin. I thought, man, that is a great idea because the motor is going to be right there. So, lo and behold, on the back of this thing, we got the pop-out windows. So I think I'm going to end up putting those in here when all's said and done. Good idea, man. So, okay, anyway, I think I'm going to work on addressing that top first. And I think I might just take a piece of 18 gauge, bend a 90 in it. You know, just a real narrow piece. Bend the 90 in, tuck the top edge, you know, put the 90 to the inside, and then just tack it along there and cut and butt and tack it along the bottom. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. Let me get a piece and try it and see what it looks like. But I think that's going to be about the easiest way to go. All right, we'll check back here shortly. All right, so what I did is I just bent like a 1/4 inch over on that, tucked that up in there, and the bend goes to the back. And then we're just gonna try to slice this off, and I'm gonna see if I can take my flat dolly here, the flat edge of that guy, and just work that in there and weld it along there. I think it's gonna work, but let's see how it does. Let's give it a shot here. Okay, so we got that piece put up in there and ground down, and did a good job of filling that gap. I don't think that's going to be any issue. And then I'm just kind of going along here and just putting another tack next to the other tacks I had on here, and I'm just going to keep building that way all the way around until I get that done. So all right, I think that's where we're going to end for today. I got a lot going on this week. So we'll probably get back on this next weekend and try and I think I'm probably get all this finished up next weekend, or pretty close to it. But yeah, so get those made. That didn't take long. And then just tack around all this, and at least maybe get this done. I probably won't have the roof all welded, but making good progress anyway. Okay, so that's going to be it for today, and we'll pick this up again in a few days. Okay, so a couple days later, today's Saturday, we're back on it. Looking pretty good. I got my little top strip up here done over to here, so just got a little section of that left. And every time I weld up there, I just go around and put another tack onto the other tacks on all these. Doing the same up here, just trying to do it nice and slow with low heat. And I cut some little pieces to fill these old hinge holes in. We're going to do those, and we're going to do this. Try to get all this done today and tomorrow, and hopefully get it ground down. But it's going along good and smooth. Just thought I'd stop and do an update of where we're at. So I think once all this is done, we're gonna give the welder a break and give the bodywork a break and tear that engine apart and see what it looks like before we tackle the other side. So I did order. I found some taillights. Wanted something square. So I found some on eBay from a 70 Kingswood station wagon that I think will work pretty good. So it's supposed to be here today or tomorrow. When we get those here, we'll just kind of take a look at where we might put them and what those are going to look like. So, all right, let me get some more done here, and we'll take a look at where we're at. So it's coming along good. Okay, so I got these little hinge pockets patched, and I am working on this section. So there's a door handle here, another piece here, there's another piece there. So rather than just try to cut that door handle out and end up with 1, 2, 3 short pieces welded together, I went and cut that whole thing out, because this side was pooched out a little bit more than that side was. And once I cut this out and I cut right there and relieved it, it just kind of went in where the other side was. So I just put a few tacks on that to hold it. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of some kind of filler under there to get that straight. It just didn't make as nice a cut on this one as I did on that side, but we'll take care of that. So I'm gonna cut out a piece just a little bit bigger than this, and we'll do the cut and butt over the top, and I think that's going to lay much better. So let me get that piece cut out, get it tacked on here, and we'll get it in there and see what it looks like, see if that looks any better than what it did. Alright, so we got that piece cut and butted and tacked in there, and like I said, that relieved the kind of bow over here. Now I got a nice straight line across the bottom there. Kind of got a little more gap on this side to fill than on that side, but we'll work that out. So pretty happy with that. Really all I got left to make is a little piece there and a little tiny piece on the end there, and the rest of it is just welding it up and getting it ground. So rolling along pretty good. We'll take a break here, grab some lunch, and we'll come back out and hit this some more. So, all right, back in just a few. All right, so there we go. I've got everything back here welded up, except I'm still working on that bottom seam, and I'm done for today. Been on this thing for several hours, so that patch worked out good, nothing warped. Over the next 2 days, I want to get that bottom seam done, get this grounded down. I just did this back seam on the roof here. I want to get that ground down. I still need to do these side things on the roof and the one in the center, but like I said, we're going to get this ground down and we're going to take a break. And on the next video, we're going to pull that motor out, hit it with the power washer, pull it apart, and see what we got. And I just want to spend a few weeks doing something else other than this body work. So we're going to work on that for a little bit. We'll do what we got to do. The motor, we'll get a get a cross member built for it. I'm going to see if I can borrow a Core 700 R4 transmission from mock-up so I can leave my other van running. Pretty well decided I'm going to go with the automatic in this thing. So yeah, I'd like to get it pretty much together in here, mocked up, to where I can just leave it in there, and then we'll get back going again on the body after that. So okay, so we will we'll pick this up tomorrow and see if we can get this finished up. Okay, so we got this seam done, this over to there. And I'm still welding across the bottom. I need to finish that. And I need to grind that and this and up under there and this back seam across the roof. So we're rolling along pretty good. Well, not much to show while I'm doing it. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of the same old stuff. So I'm just kind of doing some short updates here. In fact, I think we might get into the motor a little bit on this video, because I'm hoping to be done with this tomorrow evening. And then I'm getting my driveway sealed Thursday. So I want to get the motor sprayed down with engine degreaser and get it power washed off the driveway before they seal it, because I don't want to mess up my newly sealed driveway. So maybe Wednesday night, after we'll do another update on this tomorrow, and then on Wednesday we'll pull that motor out and get it power washed and take a look at it, and depending on how much time we got left on this, maybe we'll dig into it a little bit over the next few days after that. So okay, so we're looking pretty good here. Hey, thanks for everybody who checked out my other video of me playing my little pink bass I bought for my granddaughter. That was kind of fun. I might have to do another song on that thing. So okay, so let's I'll get back on this tomorrow after work and we'll do another update. All right, there we go. I got everything ground except for that bottom seam down there, and that's going to be a booger. But yeah, all this is ground and this back seam across the roof. So there's still quite a bit to do on the roof up here. I got all these to weld over here. I got down the center to weld, and down this side. And then I got this whole side to do. I got the tail light and the marker light section back here. Got to make the other bed rail. Got to finish that door. So, but I am ready for a break from welding and grinding. It's I need a few weeks off from it. So got plenty of time left on this video. Tomorrow night, let's drag this dude outside and hit it with the power washer. I got a cart over there I'll clean off and clean up for the parts, and maybe we'll, you know, just like crack a few things open, take the side covers off, take the valve cover off, and see how clean the inside is. And then next video we'll do a tear down on it. And I really don't want to do a full rebuild on it. The guy said it ran good, but you know how that goes. I didn't hear it run, and it's a 65 model engine according to the VIN on it. So and it's still got all the blue paint on it, you can see. It's not horrible greasy. So being engine that old, I'm kind of guessing, being engine that old, I'm kind of guessing it was probably rebuilt at some point. It's got a few new parts on it, you know, fuel pump and a couple other things. So yeah, let's clean it up and bust it open and see what we're working with. All right, so so as soon as I get home from work tomorrow, we'll drag that thing out and we'll pick this up and see what we got. All right, back in a bit. All right, so we got the motor hosed down with about 3 cans of $2.99 Walmart engine degreaser. So here's a little before shot. Probably don't care to see video of a power washer running, so I'll wash this thing off and then we'll take a look at it and let's push it inside and open a few things up on it and hopefully we'll like what we see. All right, back in a few. All right, so is she clean? I think we'll go with cleaner than what it was, which didn't have a whole lot of buildup on it, you know, just a little bit of grease on the outside. So it's got the old, I don't know if that's the original Chevy blue. I know I read somewhere that the 292s were blue, but then over here on the intake, it's kind of green looking. So that kind of looks like original paint. I don't know if that is or not. It's definitely had an RTV and a different gasket in there. And there's a couple other things. Well, the split exhaust. So, you know, somebody's worked on this thing before. So I guess what we're going to do is let me pull some of this junk off. And let's open this thing up. And I don't know if how far we'll open it tonight on this video. Let's at least get the valve cover off, see what that looks like. And get the side covers off and see how clean those are. I'd like to rotate it, but the crank pulley is right, the crank flange is right on the engine stand. I don't know if that's going to keep it from rotating or not. But does this even have a bolt? Yeah, it does got a bolt. Okay, so maybe we'll get the head off. I don't know. Okay, let me, I gotta go and throw some other pants on. I'm soaking wet from pressure washing. So let me go change my pants and I'll come back out and we'll do some disassembly. Okay, so I got my cart all set up over here and we are ready just to kind of start pulling some stuff off here and see what we got. I'm hoping we got a good engine. And I know I talked on earlier videos about maybe I'll build a custom intake for this thing and all that. And I thought, you know, I'm not going to do all that. I think we're just going to go with fix what needs to be fixed. If it needs rings and bearings, we'll do that. If it needs that, you know, hopefully get by with lapping the valves if we need to do that. I am going to change all the gaskets, probably change the oil pump, take a look at the timing gear because I know on these it's a press fit timing gear on that cam. So once we get into that, once you kind of see the general condition of the inside of the motor, we'll get a better idea where we're going to go. Definitely going to go change this over to HEI. But for right now, we're just going to pile everything on the cart and see what we got. Nope, ain't that one. I've had two other 292s in all the cars I've had over the years, and they were both really good engines. One was in a 67, I think they really called it a Suburban. It was like a panel truck. A two-door panel truck with no windows. And it was a 1-ton. It had a granny low 4-speeds. It had a top speed of about 60 miles an hour, and it was screaming at 60 miles an hour. And then I built another old panel truck, which was a Jeep FJ6. I think it was an old little short mail truck. It was an ice cream truck when I bought it. I put a label on it. I call it the ice cream. The first motor it had, I had a big block Oldsmobile in it. And loved the motor, but did not like it in that application. Couldn't keep the stupid thing cool. Wasn't enough room for radiator. So I ended up pulling the big block out, selling it, and bought a 292 Chevy and put in it. And I think that truck is up in, I sold it on eBay. I think it's up in Washington. State of Washington. Some guy bought it for an HVAC service truck. If you look back on the old videos, I got like a 25, 30-second video of me doing a burnout in it when I had a big block in it. Okay, so, not bad. Not a lot of sludge, pretty clean. Okay, I like that. No sludge on the springs, no sludge on the rockers. It's a good sign. It's a real good sign. Tell you what, let's pull the plugs out of this thing and see what they look like. Maybe we're going to get lucky here. It's definitely fouled out. A lot of carbon. But no oil residue on it. Ooh. Hang on. Let me get a cheater. Okay. This one? Ah, not that either. This one. See how this looks. Same deal, a lot of carbon. So it's not burning clean, you know that. What is that? Some kind of old O-ring. Found down in there, probably off the valve cover. Same deal. Yep. Logbook, like they hadn't actually been in there that long. They hardly burned at all as far as the roundness on the electrode. Alright, so I don't see a lot of signs of oil burning. I do see a lot of signs of a very misadjusted or just not running good carburetor. So we'll address that while we're in here. Pull one of these side covers off, see what these look like. Really clean though. I don't know if you can see that. I'll take another look here before we button all this up. Go ahead and throw a breaker bar on the front and see if we can turn it even with that being up against the engine screen. Ooh, nice. If you can see that, that's very clean. Even the push rods are clean. You kind of tell me this thing may have been apart not too darn long ago. And these gaskets on here are soft. So we may have a rebuild. Be a backyard rebuild. Yeah. We'll get something on the front and turn this thing on. Go. Yep, turns good. Goes all the way around, that's good. Tell you what, let's go ahead and pull this cover. Do one last thing on it. See if that will work. And not going back with the points distributor. Got a fairly new fuel pump on this thing too. Yeah, even these little gaskets that go in here, these things are soft. So this is definitely had a pretty significant amount of work done to it, I think. He said it ran good, but you just, you never know. Oh yeah. The push rods were all spotless, so. And like I said, this gasket is still pretty soft and pliable. So. All right, so far so good. All right, I think we'll hang it up there for this video. When we come back on the next one, let's go ahead and pull some more of this apart. We'll get the head off of it. I'll get the intake unbolted before then, because I know some of them bolts are hard to get to. We'll get the head off of it. We'll get the pan off of it. Take a look at the bores. Take a look at all the bearings. And get the front off of it. Take a look at the timing setup. Okay, so let's. I'll tell you what. Let's go inside and get a word from the Lord, and we'll call it on this one. So, thanks for following along, everybody. And I know I'm glad to be in something else other than body work. So I hope you find this interesting. So, all right, we'll catch you on the next one. Hey everybody, thanks for following along on the latest video, and I think we got some good stuff done out there. I took a little more apart on the engine after I shut the camera off, and it's looking pretty good. I got the intake and exhaust off, and everything's looking clean. I pulled the water pump off, and like the cooling passages and everything are really clean, so I'm happy about that. I think we're going to be good, but we'll know for sure on the next one. So anyway, message for today. I'm just going to kind of default to the message we had at our church Sunday, which is we're in the book of Deuteronomy. Our pastor is preaching through that, and we were talking about the gracious gifts of God, and he is talking, through the book of Deuteronomy with the children of Israel, and we're one of the things we're remembering is we're remembering the gift of His Word, and how precious that is. And let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2. I don't know if I'm getting a cold or if the Canadian wildfire smoke has got me, but I'm getting kind of sniffly here these last few days. Anyway, so Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did at Baal Peor, for the Lord your God destroyed from among you all the men who followed Baal Peor. But you who held fast to the Lord your God, are all alive this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and ordinances as the Lord my God has commanded me, that you should do them in the land which you're entering to take possession of it. So I think the big point for me there is do not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it. So this is kind of real similar to one of the last books or the last verses in Revelation, where it talks about the Bible being complete, and we're not to add anything to it that's not there, and we're not to take away anything to it that is there. A lot of people say nowadays, well, religion needs to change and align itself with what's going on in the world, and it's like, that is not right at all. It's the other way around. We need to align ourselves with God's Word. So the next thing we talked about, after we talked about remembering the gift of His Word, is remembering the gift of His unconditional love. Back to Deuteronomy 4, 9, and 10. Only take heed and keep your soul diligent, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children. How on the day that you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, the Lord said to me, gather the people to me, that I may let them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children so. The children of Israel learned how much God loved them, and it is so important that we pass that on to our kids, to our grandkids, to our stepkids, anyone that we're a parent or a mentor to, that we pass that on, the gift of His unconditional love. And then we remember the gift of His salvation, which is chapter 4, verse 32 through 40. Let's read that real quick. It's got a small print. For ask now the days that are past, which were before ye, since the day that God created man upon the earth, and ask from one end of heaven to the other, whether such a great thing as this has ever happened or was ever heard of. Did any people ever hear the voice of God speaking out in the midst of the fire, as you have heard and still live? Or has any God ever attempted to go and take a nation for himself from the midst of another nation, by trials, by signs, by wonders, and by war, with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? We go down a little. Therefore you shall keep His statutes and His commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land of the Lord your God, in the land that the Lord your God gives you forever. Some great verses there. One of the things I've heard people nowadays talk about, well, if we could, if we could see God or hear God's voice, then we would, maybe we would take it more seriously. But the children of Israel, they had God traveling with them in a cloud of fire, and they physically heard His voice and saw His presence, and they still fell into disobedience. So, good food for thought there. So, when we remember God's gracious gifts, as far as His salvation, that means we will know Him, His love. We respond to that by worshiping Him, and His holy word, we respond to that by obeying Him. So, great stuff. That's kind of the condensed version of a pretty wonderful 45-minute sermon. But, get into the book of Deuteronomy. A lot of people focus only on the New Testament, but there's some wonderful things in the Old Testament there. And when you see how God pulled those people out of Egypt and brought them to the Promised Land, there's some great stuff in there. So that is going to be it for today. Let's have a quick word of prayer, and we'll be done. Father, I thank you for your holy word. And we thank you that it is complete. And we just ask that you would help us to remember and to respect that, and not to try to put things in there that aren't in there, or to take critical things out of there that are in there, that we just accept it as it is, 100% truth, and your love letter to us. And just ask as we go forward this week that you would, if there's a ministry opportunity for us, that you would put that before us, and help us to be obedient in that. We ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, pass these videos on. Always like to get more subscribers. So, like I said, turn some people on to the channel. And we will catch you on the next one. We'll do some more on this engine and see what we got.